Hello and welcome to the Get Real Football Experts podcast. I'm your host, Louis DB at DB Sports Talk, and today we are another edition of the schedule rundowns on YouTube. Check us out, youtube.com/NFL Experts, for all the predictions of each team's season for the 2013. We're sticking in the NFC East today, where we're going to go over to the defending NFC East champions, Washington Redskins, with their franchise leader and quarterback, number 10, Robert Griffin III, second overall pick last year, coming out of Baylor. So the Redskins, obviously as your loss in the wild card to the Seattle Seahawks after going up 14-0. The injuries to Robert Griffin III, tearing his ACL, has been the offseason talk for the Redskins, getting him healthy for Week 1. Monday night against the Philadelphia Eagles, where we're going to start at Week 1. But before that, going to talk a little bit about the season recap. The Redskins beat the Cowboys in Week 17 to win the division. RG3 and Alfred Morris combining for over 100 yards, rushing over 130. Dominant read option, one of the best running attacks in the league last year. So the Redskins very explosive, and they're ready to kick this thing off against the Philadelphia Eagles at home, hoping for a healthy RG3. They're going to be on Monday Night Football in prime time. Everybody's going to be watching this game, and it's going to be against the Eagles. I think this one's going to be a win. I think they're going to start off at 1-0, not based on what RG3 is going to do, but what that defense and what Alfred Morris is going to do. And it's not always too about what the Redskins are going to do. I think it's what the Eagles are not going to be able to do. And I think they're not going to be able to gel with their first game under Chip Kelly. I don't think the whole system's going to be intact at the time with your first regular season game. So I think the Redskins are going to take advantage of that. And I think they're going to slow RG3 into it, maybe run the ball a lot more, maybe not as much read option, let Alfred Morris take the lead, and also throw some screens, maybe to a healthy Pierre Garçon, and obviously a veteran in Santana Moss. So they're going to start off 1-0 in my opinion. Going to Week 2, they're at the Green Bay Packers, a team that everybody is saying could be Super Bowl contenders, as they usually are every year, because they have that bad man and Aaron Rodgers at their starting quarterback, probably the best quarterback in the NFL. I think they're going to lose this game. I just don't think that the Redskins have enough firepower. Well, they do have enough firepower, but keeping up with Aaron Rodgers in your second game back from an injury in RG3, I think it's going to be a lot to ask. The defense has improved. Clay Matthews is coming back another year after a very impressive year last year. They shored up some spots, but they lost Charles Woodson in free agency. In their draft, they sealed up some running back spots like they did last year. They were having some trouble with Dwan Harris and Alex Screen, and these guys rotating in and out. They drafted Alabama stud Eddie Lacy, and also in the second round, and then in the fourth round, they drafted Jonathan Franklin out of UCLA, very underrated running back. So this whole attack, I think, for the Packers is ready to make a run this year back to the Super Bowl. And I think the Redskins are going to lose this game and drop to 1-1. It's away. It's in Lambeau Field, which is a really tough environment for a young team to go in. Obviously, London Fletcher and the defense can handle it. I just want to see how RG3 can handle some of these top teams in the NFC. So we're going to go to Week 3, where they're home against the Detroit Lions, a team that, a lot of people had a lot of expectations for last year, and dropped to 4-12. They have the best receiver in the league, arguably, in Calvin Johnson. I don't even think it's arguably. He broke the receiving yard record in a season last year, almost with 2,000 yards, almost so close. But they have a stud first overall pick out of Georgia and Matt Stafford a couple years ago. I think the Redskins are going to actually lose this game and drop to 1-2. It is home. But I like what the Lions did on defense, getting Ezekiel Ansah with that 5th overall pick. I think that's going to shore up some of the defensive questions. Also, with the secondary, not so good for the Lions. They did shore up some spots there. The Lions are a very good team, and I think that this is one of the teams that the Redskins have to battle to get a not as necessarily a wild card spot, but if they don't win the division, this is one of the teams that they're going to have to compete with to get a wild card spot for sure. And obviously, there's a lot of question marks and stuff. In the second round, they did shore up the secondary, getting Darius Slay, the corner out of Mississippi State, who was really going to help. I think that secondary weak that was very weak last year. So I think it comes down to offense versus offense, because both defenses, I think, can hold their own. And I just think that, the Lions might have the slight edge because of the combination of Stafford. And also they got Reggie Bush. Don't count out that guy. So I think it's going to be a close game, but I like the Lions to win this game, and I'll have the Redskins drop to 1-2 on the season. But there's always time for a comeback, obviously. You're only 3 weeks in, so now we're going to go to Week 4. They're going to go to the Black Hole away at the Oakland Raiders. Yeah, everybody is not very optimistic about the Raiders, who pretty much just cleaned house after that Carson Palmer failure, trading him over to Arizona. Darius Hayward-Bay is gone. Now he's in Indianapolis. Sorry, Raiders fans, but this black hole might be collapsing on itself. They did get Charles Woodson though, so there's hope. There is hope for a good veteran guy who can actually help this team. I think the Redskins are going to win this game. It is away, but I think it's really easy going into a bye week. The Redskins are going to want to get a good win here against a team that they should beat any day of the week, and the Redskins are going to need these easy wins if they want to win the division. When you have the Eagles, you have the Cowboys and Giants. Giants former Super Bowl two-time Super Bowl champions in this past decade. You got to be able to win. You got to be able to rack up the wins until the end of the season, where it's usually going to come down to a game in Week 17. Winner takes it. That happened last year and the year before. Cowboys against the Giants and then Redskins against the Cowboys. So these wins are going to cost a lot, and I think RG3's offense is just going to go after the weak defensive line. I think Alfred Morris and RG3 are going to have a big day running. I think Griffin's going to probably be healthy here to run the ball at his full speed against a Raiders team that lost. Bennett, Desmond Bryant, defensive tackle, and also Richard Seymour. That's two linemen that are gone. And you could have filled that neat hole with Sherry Floyd out of Florida, but instead they decided to go in the first round, moving back, taking DJ Hayden, the corner out of the University of Houston, who's a very good player, but there's some injury concerns there. So I think the Redskins are going to win this one. And at the bye week, they have an early bye week, week 5. They're at 2-2. So we're going to go away to the Dallas Cowboys, week 6, a team that I don't like personally, as I'm a Philadelphia Eagles fan. I'm still going to give this one a loss. I think the Cowboys are really going to have something to prove. They're probably going to be looking for some revenge here, and I think that they will get it. The Redskins will drop to 2-3. The division game is going to be big, but the Cowboys know that they're going to have to at least split the Redskins in order to get to the division crown. It is away, so it's a tough environment for the Redskins to go in. They did beat them last year on Thanksgiving, really embarrassing. It was a really good game, but embarrassed that secondary. RG3 did, really going after it to win. But I don't know. I like what Tony Romo has this year. I think, sadly, because I'm an Eagles fan, I think he's going to be much improved, and I think Dez Bryant's one of the best receivers now in the league. And Jason Witten, a veteran tight end. They just have a lot of weapons going for them. If DeMarco Murray can stay healthy, I think this team's going to be really good. Very similar to the Redskins. The defense is both very good. I think it's going to be key for that secondary to watch for the Redskins, who did have some injuries last year. They did bring back D'Angelo Hall, the veteran, I believe. So, that does help a veteran presence. For that young secondary, I think, obviously Cedric Griffin, I think, is actually pretty good. She showed some good signs last year, but he did have an injury. So I think they're going to drop to 2-3. There's still hope. Week 7 is home against the Chicago Bears. Staying home, thank God they're not going to Soldier Field, one of the toughest places to play in the NFL. I think they're going to win this game in a close one and improve to 3-3. I just think it's based on here is the Redskins, the loss of Brian Urlacher is big for the Bears, and they didn't really do much to address them in the linebacker position, but obviously you still have Lance Briggs there, veteran presence, because mainly, too, that they did sure up some offensive line help, the Bears did, with Jermaine Bushrod, and also Kyle Long in the first round, who can play guard and tackle to help Jake Cutler. But this is what RG3 is going to have to do. Attack the weak side, attack that weak. Defensive tackle core and linebackers. I think if they can do that with the read option, this is going to help. I think a lot of these teams that the Redskins face are very good in the secondary. You got the Broncos, the Vikings, the Eagles, debatable 49ers, Falcons. So these teams are good. They're actually pretty good at what they can do. I think they're going to win this game against Chicago based on, I just think that the defense is getting older. Julius Peppers, Lance Briggs, Charles Tillman. These guys are veterans, but I don't know how much they have left. And I like the Redskins' a young, fast attack on the offense to win this game and improve to back to 500 at 3-3. So going to Week 8, they're away against the Denver Broncos. Wow, what a close game! But eventually, you got to say the Broncos are going to lose some games, right? I think they're going to win this game. They're going to go into a tough environment at Mile High Stadium. Peyton Manning, Wes Welker, Demaryius Thomas, Eric Decker. These guys are ready for a Super Bowl run, but this is the ultimate test, I think, for RG3 and the Redskins. London Fletcher's really got to rally the troops on defense to somehow stop them, make them run the football on them, take off the open field, stop Demaryius Thomas and cut the middle of the field not open for Wes Welker and Decker to have a fun day, a field day there, and make Monty Ball run the football and really attack him with that defensive line. I think with Ryan Kerrigan and Brian Arakbo got to go for Manning, who can't really is not mobile, as you know. Probably one of the slowest. I don't know. Is he slower than Tom Brady? I would think so. So I think they're gonna win this game and improve to 4-3. So they might want to get on a little roll here. They're week 9 home against a San Diego Chargers team who finally got rid of head coach Norv Turner. Got Mike McCoy, the former offensive coordinator of the Denver Broncos, Coach Tebow, and Coach Peyton Manning. So he is going to help Phillip Rivers a lot. But I think the Redskins are going to win this one, and it's because of one thing. It's because of the Chargers defense. I've been linked with the Chargers for a little bit. My brother's a Chargers fan. Watching their games, the defense just has not been right for several years since Sean Merriman's been gone and and Junior Seau, rest in peace. I think really with Sean Phillips gone and with Melvin Ingram tearing his ACL, Manti Te'o is going to really have to be a big impact here. And too, they got Dwight Freeney, a veteran presence. But I just don't think it's enough to stop both the run game of the Redskins, who's also going to open up the pass game. I think Pierre Garcon's really going to attack that weak secondary. They lost Quentin Jammer, so if they can get past Castillo, who's a very respected safety in the NFL, I think the Redskins are going to be all right here. I think it's going to be a walk in the park. It's just my opinion. I think RG3 eventually is just going to really expose some defenses, and they will improve to 5-3 on the season on a 2-game win streak. Going into Week 10, they are away at the Minnesota Vikings, a team that made the playoffs last year, surprisingly, off of mainly because of the best running back in the game, arguably the best player in the NFL, and Adrian Peterson, who broke over 2,000 yards, 9 yards away from the record from Eric Dickerson's record. Very tense against the Green Bay Packers. I know everyone was watching that game. It's an NFL fan. I think they're going to win this game, though. Christian Ponder is a developing quarterback still. I don't give up on him. I think a lot of people are ratting on him for a lot, but I think he had a not bad year. I mean, he really did some good things for the. Just look at that Week 17 game against the Packers to get into the playoffs. That was pretty clutch. But I think the Redskins are going to win this. The defense, they lost Antoine Winfield in the secondary, which is a big loss. They have some young guys coming in, Xavier Rhodes, Sharif Floyd. I think it's going to come down to if the Redskins can take out Adrian Peterson to an extent. You can't really take him out completely of the game. Nobody can do that. But if you can limit what he's doing, I don't think it's going to be all that bad for them. And I think they're personally, I think the Vikings are a bit overrated. I think a lot of people are putting them into the playoffs again. I had them at 7-9 total for that. So I think they're Redskins going to win this game and improve to 6-3. So now going into Week 11, they're away against the Philadelphia Eagles, a division rival who they did sweep last year. I think they're going to lose this game. I think the Eagles are going to have to get some division wins if they want a chance. They're probably the team that everyone's putting fourth in the division. I think that they might. I think that the Redskins can do some. They did a lot of damage on the Eagles last year, but I think it's going to be different in this one. And I think they're going to they're going to decrease a little bit in offense. I think the Eagles' defense is very underrated. I think that they have some new pieces with Connor Barwin, and I think the fourth, Isaac Sopolaga, is probably the most underrated nose tackle in the NFL. Very respected around the league, former 49er. I think the Redskins are going to lose this game, and they will be now 6-4. So Week 12, they're home against a team that many people are putting in the Super Bowl, the San Francisco 49ers. And I think that they are going to lose this game. I mean, the 49ers with Colin Kaepernick, their new quarterback in town, Vernon Davis, Anquan Bolden. Obviously, they lost Michael Crabtree after tearing Achilles tendon. I mean, the defense, though, that's the story here. Patrick Willis, Navarro Bowman, best linebackers in the NFL, in my opinion, right now. The secondary, you have Carlos Rogers, Nnamdi Asomugha, Culliver. And then in the first round, you got a guy to replace Deshaun Goldson, who went off to Tampa Bay, who I think is going to be really impactful, and Eric Reed. And then Dante Whitner, who's a tackling machine. It's just too much for RG3, I think, in this game. So I think that the Redskins are going to be at 6-5 here. Week 13, very important game, home against the New York Giants. I think they're going to win it. I think you have to split with the Giants or sweep them to win this division, who I think the Giants are their biggest threat. and I think they're going to win this game and improve to 7-5. I think the Giants defense really had a tough time stopping the read option attack of the Redskins. I mean, Jason Pierre-Paul had he did decrease in production last year from the year before, and O.C. Umenyiora is gone. So I think the Giants defense did decrease a little. You lost Michael Boley, so Mark Herzlich's going to have to come in as a linebacker, a young guy, to take the load. I think the Redskins are really going to expose that. And the defensive tackle position, I think they're going to have to expose with Morris as they lost Chris Canty, who's going over to the Super Bowl champion Baltimore Ravens. So I think the Redskins will win this and improve to 7-9 and a much needed division rivalry win. So now they're Week 14 versus the Kansas City Chiefs, a team that really has made some serious changes. Now they fired Romeo Crennel and signed Andy Reid, getting rid of Matt Castle and bringing in Alex Smith. 6 Pro Bowl guys in Tamba Ali, Eric Berry. I mean, these guys are, they're ready. I think they're ready for a playoff run. So that's going to be interesting to see what the Chiefs can do in a tough division. So obviously we'll have the schedule rundown for you about them. I think the Chiefs are going to win this game. I think the defense, Tamba Ali, is really going to go after RG3. You got to solve this read option. I don't know if it is something you can just solve. I think coaches are obviously going to have to try to contain it by not always going for the running back. I think if you have a spy on RG3, but that means you're going to have to take people out of the secondary. I mean, maybe go an extra lineman. I don't know how it's going to work, but I like the Chiefs to win this, and I think the Redskins will move down to 7-6. I think eventually some of these, I mean, the Redskins. This is crunch time. And in Week 15, now they're away against the Atlanta Falcons, probably the biggest game of the year. This is the biggest stretch. They go Falcons, then versus the Cowboys, then away against the Giants. 2 of the 3, obviously all 3 of these teams are potential playoff teams. Maybe even 2 of them are Super Bowl candidates. I think they're going to lose this game against the Falcons and now be 7-7. I think it's because, I mean, you're going into a hostile environment, the Georgia Dome. Roddy White, Julio Jones, Tony Gonzalez, Steven Jackson, newly signed from the St. Louis Rams, now coming over to Atlanta, and Matty Ice, Matt Ryan. I don't know how I mean, this is close, but I like the Falcons here. The defense did get a little bit better. The Desmond Trufant, first round pick corner, very tough guy. I really like him. He's got 2 brothers in the NFL. Marcus Trufant, who is probably going to be starting for the Jacksonville Jaguars, and a former Philadelphia Eagle himself, and now on the New York Jets, Isaiah Trufant. So I think this is going to be pretty solid. So they're going to be 7-7. The Redskins are going to be 7-7 based on just the passing attack of the Falcons. So Week 16, they're home against the Dallas Cowboys, who they did lose to earlier in Week 6, but they are home. This is probably one of the biggest games of the year. I think they're going to pull this one out and improve to 8-7 with Tony Romo and Dez Bryant. I think if the secondary can cut that duo off and also limit the amount of receptions Jason Witten does, make DeMarco Murray run that football up the middle, and I think they'll be all right here. DeMarcus Ware really struggled with the read option against RG3 last year. So Week 17, they're at the New York Giants. They're 8-7. The past 2 years, like I said, there's been winner takes the division matchups. 2 years ago, the Giants versus the Cowboys. Giants winning it, obviously. And last year, against the Redskins Cowboys, the Redskins winning it. I think this actually might be the case here. They're away at MetLife Stadium. So, I mean, this is going to be tough. This is really going to test what RG3 can do, and I think they're going to pull this one out. This might be the division winner, but we got to see what the Giants' final schedule prediction was. But, I mean, the NFC East always comes down to the last couple weeks, and I think if RG3, this will really show a lot of leadership and maturity if he can pull this game out. But he can't do it all by himself. He needs a healthy Pierre Garçon, and he also needs a veteran defense secondary to step up and take out Hakeem Nicks and Cruz. And then I think they'll be all right. All right, thank you for joining me here on Get Real Full Experts Schedule Rundown Edition. Make sure to follow me at DB Sports Talk for your NFL and fantasy updates. Follow my partner Dave at Dave Crest Sports for the same stuff, NFL and fantasy football and all football stuff all the time. Check out our articles at getrealfootball.com. Subscribe and rate and comment on youtube.com/NFLexperts. And check my articles out at dbsportstalk.blogspot.com or dbsportstalkfantasy.blogspot.com. And my partner Dave's website, davecrest.webs.com. Thanks, football fans. It's been real.